I just sold all of my crypto tokens because I'm anticipating a crash to happen in the next few months here that will ultimately allow me to buy extremely cheap in 2024 and become a whole lot wealthier in 2025. Now, this was actually a comment I received on a recent AMA I hosted a few weeks ago when one of my subscribers told me, hey, look, Kyron, I've literally sold all of my crypto. My altcoins I hold none. I'm completely in cash right now because I plan to pretty much buy pennies on the dollar for what he believes to be a massive crash coming very, very soon. Now, I guess the question ultimately is, do I think he's correct? Well, to be honest with you guys, a little bit. I want you to hear me out here, okay? It's going to be a very important video for a lot of you because assessing this is something that should be taken into consideration from any good investor, okay? So first of all, I want to take you guys through a chart here just to show you that some of his thinking immediately is correct. What we typically see in crypto is a crash before the bull run, which we so far haven't, okay? As you can see on TradingView right now, this is before the 2016 halving, and we can see back in 2015 that crypto retraced 75%. This is the global market cap. This isn't an altcoin. This is the cumulative market cap of the entire crypto market, okay? Now, from the exact low, approximately 546 days later, we had the halving, the 2016 halving, right? Again, 75% drop. Again, a lot less mature market than what it is now, 100%. Well, we traverse over to, a few years into the future here, and we have a look just before the 2020 halving, and crypto actually crashed 65%. Now, it did a little bit less than this. This was definitely sort of perpetuated by, of course, COVID. COVID made this a hell of a lot worse. Of course, this particular crash here was because of COVID. And we can see here from the low of COVID, crypto had about 63 days to the halving. But again, you might not want to take that into consideration. If we don't take COVID into consideration, of course, way back over here, it was 147 days. And of course, a lot less. It was about 50% drop. Okay, still substantial. We're talking about a 50% drop here. And it has, slightly subdued from the last, 75%. Well, we come to where we are right now in the market. And again, look at where we are, okay? Look at where we are. We had the immediate crash. We've now, basically almost started forming higher lows on this massive journey here, on this massive sort of lens. And look at this. If we just fall 45%, we will basically be at the lows that we were back at the very, very start of this year. 2023, Bitcoin saw about $16,000. Okay, so we are talking about what I believe to be kind of proportionate, right, to what's happened in the past. We will slowly depreciate the level of the drop, but I do think that, again, 45% I think is a very reasonable size drop here, and again, that will take us down to levels we've seen before, all right? Definitely a level of support, I believe. So again, I think fundamentally speaking, his fears are correct, right? We come look and have a look at the fear and greed index, right? What typically happens? Well, right now, we're at a fear and greed of about 70 to 75% or 75, on the index score, right? And as you can see over here, what's happened every single time we've gone basically above at 70, 75. We've pretty much seen a correction, right? Now, of course, the correction depends and it's not always the same, but of course, we do see a correction after positive action, right? After this greed ensues. Now, of course, we can touch on the reasons why, and I definitely have outlined these fundamentally speaking, besides these technical reasons as well on this video here I posted 3 weeks ago, right? Huge 2024 crypto crash is now possible. It's an 18-minute video. I cover all of the possible details as to what may it happen. But what people are fundamentally forgetting here, guys, is yes, while it is amazing that Bitcoin has an ETF proposal on the way from the largest venture capital or asset manager in the world, BlackRock, okay, which actually is managed by State Street, like the third largest. That's awesome. And actually, at that, they proposed an Ethereum spot ETF as well recently, right, which actually pumped up Ethereum's price. But again, what people are forgetting in this case is a few very interesting variables that actually need to be taken into consideration in this case. What we are fundamentally forgetting is there is a potential World War III starting. I know, doom and gloom. Kyron, what are the chances World War III really kicks off? Well, just like any conflict, it starts small and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as we're seeing, of course, the US is starting to move some of their fleet into the area. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you guys about what World War III may or may not happen in the next, coming 12 months or so. That's not it. But what we might see here is a somewhat small crash in the traditional markets because we have some of these global powers coming into the mix even though World War III might not actually kick off. And what people are forgetting, even if the spot ETFs are confirmed, the Bitcoin and Ethereum, guys, it's a market. What are people initially thinking when they think of Bitcoin and Ethereum? They're thinking a new speculative market. They're not thinking about, oh, this is going to be the way that we replace cash. No, the general person in the world isn't thinking that. Get yourself out of the gutter for a second here. Start thinking clearly. They're not thinking that. Any crypto bro that says that, you need to just stop talking to them straight away. So when these ETFs are approved, and I believe eventually they will be, what will actually happen is if this sort of ensues, this sort of global, catastrophe, well, people are going to take their damn money out of the most speculative investment they have, which is Bitcoin and or Ethereum, okay? So that will, I believe, also be a cataclysm, and even greater reason, as positive as the news initially might be, for the market to therefore crash, because the regular dude now wants to get his money out. I'm just hypothesizing here, this may or may not happen, and again, I want to actually mention something else. The Bitcoin ETF may not even be approved. Now, I believe eventually it will be. Now, whether it is initially or not, I think we are just so overextended right now, okay? We're just in this stage where if you've been in crypto long enough, you know when it's this positive, something ain't right, okay? Something ain't right. Now, again, I think obviously we are in a bull run, and again, going back to the person's comment, his whole hypothesis of, hey, should I sell my crypto now? I think I like to look at things as risk to reward, okay? That's how I teach things in my course, which, by the way, will be available on November 20th. But the things are risk to reward, right? Just like traders analyze, we investors should do the same thing. Is the risk far greater than the reward in this case to then exit, right? Because again, you think about it, the risk in this case, if you fully exit the market, is that you don't actually get in at all, and the market doesn't see a correction and it continues going up. That might, in my opinion at least, will far outweigh the potential for you to then get in on pennies on the dollar. That's why it's very important as well to have cash on hand. I'm going to briefly interrupt your viewing experience today, but not for a channel sponsor. No, this video isn't sponsored, but I'm going to introduce to all my US viewers a partner that I've recently collaborated with that allows you to buy your favorite altcoins without having to worry about KYC, because I know for all my US viewers how hard and difficult it is to buy some of your favorite altcoins because you can't sign up to the exchange required to buy it because of KYC and therefore the regulations that are enforced upon you, also for other countries as well. So Bitfinex is the exchange I have partnered with, hopefully in perpetuity, that will allow you guys to buy a whole host of altcoins without having to worry about KYC. Yes, simply go to the description down below, find the want to trade, find the US viewers non-KYC exchange Bitfinex, click the link, it will help the channel out, sign up with the link, and that's all that's required. Then you simply go and buy any altcoins. They have a whole bunch listed. I'm not going to go through all of them. Some of the ones you can see on the screen right now, and of course ones that are prohibited on all these larger exchanges that do require KYC as well. Now I want to say the really beautiful thing about Bitfinex that kind of took me by surprise is for all you avid traders out there, you actually don't just have a spot market, you also have a futures market as well, which is kind of impressive for a non-KYC exchange, and that is one of the many factors I have partnered with Bitfinex to help a lot of you guys out in your crypto journey. So please use the link down below and let's get back into the video. Now, just like Rand mentions, going back to my previous point, can you imagine the carnage on the markets if the Bitcoin ETF is denied? Now, whether you like HIT network or not, I think that what they say here is very valid. They reject on the final deadline. Okay, lawsuit follows successful ETF launches post-halving blow off top. That is a very possible situation here. Remember, BlackRock most definitely has the US by the balls, the government by the balls. That's undoubtable. But again, they are an asset manager. They are looking to capitalize. Now, they've just been buying and buying Bitcoin. They may want to even buy more Bitcoin at a lower price. Don't you think that that would make more sense for them to crash the market here? Again, I don't want to sit here and doom and gloom. I just want to give you the understanding. This guy, my subscriber, has a very valid point here. There is a lot of up in the air situations. And again, we haven't had that crash yet. We haven't had that massive retracement. We are far overextended, I believe, on the fear and greed index. We typically are overdue, that's for damn sure, for something to happen here, okay? And again, with what's happening in the macro world, with this whole, Palestine versus Israel, now everyone's sort of fighting each other in this case, even in the Western world. Well, again, something I think is bound to happen. Now, we can get into the reasons why I think he is or isn't correct in a second, But I want to point something something else out that's very important as well, right? A lot of people look at the macro crypto market and think to themselves, oh my God, like we have these retracements, there's going to be no extra points that we can get in, so on and so forth. Guys, when the market retraces, say 20%, individual altcoins, they retrace 30+%. There's always a greater downside in individual altcoins than there is in the macro market, right? So we have these higher lows that forms in the market like we can see here, right? These higher lows, but ultimately a lot of altcoins, what they actually do is they fall lower than that, or they don't, even climb at this point at all, right? So for those of you who are thinking, I'm going to miss the boat, if you have a look at the global macro market, right now, if we scroll over here, look at this massive upswing, and they kind of use that as an indicator of what their individual altcoins are doing. This is why I tell people all the time, right? It's very important you have at least 10 minutes of a day research into each altcoin you hold, because you must be able to analyze what is happening on that level with it, especially in the bull run. But if you have a look at the global market, as you can see here, like look at this, from the top to the bottom, in the bull run, this massive retracement, and again, these do happen, right? Become the Polkadot. Now, arguably, Polkadot is one of the largest projects. It's been like top 20, top 25, even top like 10 for a very, very long time here. But even this altcoin retraces a lot more. It moved down almost 80% versus the market moving just under 55% here. Okay, look at this, 32, 33% basically, over here, 25%, okay? And this is for Polkadot we're talking about here, okay? So just understand that when you're looking at this in a very zoomed out lens and you're analyzing whether it's a good time to get in, hold off, buy, sell, just again, think of the bigger picture and look into the altcoin individually here, okay? It might still be a good time to dollar cost average, even though we are up, and conversely as well, it might be a good time to possibly sell at a profit for a potential move to the downside in the future. So what about selling your altcoin you may be holding? And I get it, a lot of you are holding altcoins you don't typically want to, and then reinvesting into another. Maybe you are at a profit on that altcoin right now, and you want to take a profit and get into another altcoin. Like a recent consultant, you guys know of the story of John T, right? A consultant one-on-one I had with a subscriber, and he actually made about $100,000 profit in a few weeks, which is absolutely crazy. He then took that and reinvested and bought one whole Bitcoin, which is really awesome to hear, okay? And so he could afford to do that because, again, he's taking some off the top like any good investor would, right? And he's obviously buying an asset that he believes will be, appreciating at least a lot from here, okay? And so we have to have a look individually here. Each altcoin, is it okay? Now, generally, and I touch on this in my course as well, there's a rule of thumb, okay? And it will vary person to person, but I think from what I've seen so far, at least myself, is that 20% and under seems to be the level at which people can reasonably expect to take profit and not be like, oh my God, that's way too much money. It depends again per person, but again, not financial advice, but 20%, if you're down, 25%, maybe it's not that acceptable at that point, but 20% and under, you might want to take your profit off the table, or again, more so underneath, right? So if you're obviously at a loss, take that loss, and then you may want to take that capital you've then made to buy a new altcoin. Now you have to, of course, assess whether the altcoin you're buying is at a good time to buy as well to meet your return on investment goals. If that altcoin is just appealing to you because it's pumping, right? Because like look at Chainlink or look at Solana or look at Mina. Oh my God, it's pumping so much, it's going to go up even more. If that's the thought process you have to then exit a position that and otherwise you wouldn't really mind too much in holding for the bull run to just at least make your money back plus some. Well, guys, you're making a judgment based purely on emotion, which is never, ever, ever a good thing to do in not just crypto, but investing in general. The minute that your brain goes, oh my God, this is happening, I need to react in this way, that is, I tell you right now, you're going to have some pretty serious post-night clarity in 2026 after you make all these decisions. So I'm here to tell you, I think generally speaking, 20% down is a pretty okay level, and also maybe 20% up as well if you want to take some off the table and then reinvest into an altcoin you deem worthy, not because it's pumping up, okay? So just reassess these things yourself, but please, I think going back to the question, or at least the statement that this gentleman had in my AMA a few weeks ago about his position, do I think that you should actually go ahead and do that? Again, it might be something that you think of yourself. The risk to reward, in my opinion, is not worth it. But again, the macro factors and what we've touched on in this video definitely scream like something is due. Just depends how far we fall. Okay, so with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like if you've made it this far. I look forward to talking to you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye.